Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I wanted to share a project that I've created in Salesforce platform using LWC Framework. So this is an COVID vaccination details application in which you can find whether there are particular COVID vaccination centers that are available on a specific date and in a specific area, whether the doses are available so that you can go personally take a visit to the hospital and get vaccinated. So here let's take a demo of this application. So this is basically an LWC component that I've created in which you have to enter a date on which you have to find whether the center is available or not. So I'll be entering, for example, let's say 10th of August 2022. I'll be entering the pin code. You can enter any pin code that you want. Then I'm entering the email address. So here I'll be entering my email address which is active. Alright, because once I'm hitting submit, I will be getting the vaccination details or like the information regarding the vaccination centers on my email address. So we have to put an email address that is active so that we can receive the details. So once when I'm clicking on submit, what is happening, I'll just explain you quickly using notepad. So what basically is happening, I'll tell you. Once I'm clicking on submit, like whatever the details that I have entered on this UI on the front end, that is the date and pin code and the email address, these three details, these three fields basically will be sent to your Apex controller. Okay, so these would be going to the backend, these all three fields, and it will be hitting an API. Okay, it will be making an API call out with this date and pin code, and it will fetch all the vaccination centers that are available at that particular date and pin code, and then we will get a response back from the API, right? So basically we will be sending a request and then we will be getting a response back from the API. Once we are getting the API response, what we are doing is we are storing the response in an custom object. Okay, we will be storing that in a custom object, and that particular response that we are getting, we will be sending it to the user email ID that the user has entered. Okay, so this is basically the flow. All right, so let's click on submit and see the demo of this application. So I've entered the date, pin code and email ID. I'll be clicking on submit. So it says one center found and the details are sent to the email ID. Please check. So let's just quickly open our Gmail account. So this is the email that we have received on our Gmail account. So this is the email. So it says COVID-19 vaccination center details. Okay, that is the subject of the mail, and you can see these details. So the details are like the name of the center, the address of the center, what sort of vaccine is available at that particular center, the center ID. It consists of date, fee type, whether it's free or paid, the availability for dose 1 and dose 2, the starting time, the closing time, and the minimum age limit. So these are all details we have fetched from the API, and then we have received it onto our email address. So for the admin part, I have created a dashboard in which the person can visualize the data more clearly and analyze as well. So this is the dashboard that I have created. Let's refresh it once so that it takes the latest data. So these are the total dose 1, These are the total dose 2. These are the doses based on the pin code. Then these are the frequency of vaccinations. Then these are the available centers. Then the information regarding those centers here. So this is nothing but a dashboard for visualization of the data more clearly and analyze the data quickly. And it fetches all the records which we are hitting basically on this home page. The component when we are entering the date and pin code, and when we are hitting the API, we get the responses. And I have created object, custom object called response, in which we are getting those responses of the center, and these centers are used for the reference in this dashboard. So whichever area and pin code you are entering on that component, LWC component, and we will be getting an API response. Those responses we are using here for the visualization. To walk through of the code, I'll be sharing my GitHub link where you can find this code and go through it your own. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section so we can discuss on that. And any suggestions would be appreciated on whether how to make this app more efficient, or like if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section. So let's go have a walkthrough of the code. So this is the COVID API controller, like the Apex side, the backend side we can say. Okay, so we are getting the date, pin code, and the email ID that the user has entered in the front end. After that, there's I've created two separate classes for the request and response, just to keep it simpler and easy to understand. I've created specific classes for the specific purpose. Like for request, there is a COVID data request. Okay, so this is nothing but it will be creating a request for us and it will send a request. So we will receive the request here. Same thing for the response. Okay, data response. In the data response, we will be actually sending the request and we will be getting a response here. After that, the response that we are getting is in the JSON format. So we will be deserializing the data. All right. And then I've said that I've created a custom object called response. Into that, we will be entering all the data that we have received from the API. Once that is done, we will be inserting the record. I've created another class called email service, which will be sending the email onto the email address. So we are sending the center details here. We are sending the pin code here and the email ID here. Then this is the main class email service, into which there are the centers that we are getting, the pin code and the email ID. Alright. So this is nothing but the single email messaging class we are using for sending the email. That's all. So if you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you for your time.